tired of listening to all of this hysteria from the left. They, we've only been here 8 weeks with the Trump counter-revolution, and it's like, oh my God, he deported somebody. Well, what do you think is the reason for that? Who let in 12 San Francisco? You people did. 12 of them. 12 1 million person cities.
Victor Davis Hanson unloads on the left's hysteria, and he's had enough. After just 8 weeks of Trump's counter-revolution, the media and political elites are already losing their minds. But Hanson cuts through the noise to expose the real failures that led us here. So here's the question the critics won't answer. If Trump's plan is wrong, what's the alternative? Hanson exposes the political class's total failure to offer real solutions. Watch now.
And out here on ground zero, you could see the difference, whether it was an increase in people throwing trash, or people gang activity, or as happened 3 days ago, 2 huge dogs just dumped out of a car, wandering into our yard. The system isn't ready for that shock. And it wasn't 12 million dispersed over the continental United States. It was 12 million people flown into particular locales along the Texas-Mexican border, in the San Joaquin Valley, in the inner city. It wasn't the people in Malibu, and it wasn't the people in Newport, Rhode Island. It was the other people who bore the consequences of their policies. And the same thing is true borrowing $7 trillion and getting a hyper 9% inflation in 2022. The same thing was true of what we're learning from USAID. So I guess what I'm saying, Jack, is what is the alternative? He's cut off $100 billion. That's nothing. Nothing. We are borrowing $3 billion a day in interest. $3 billion. That would mean that every single day, before Elon Musk can cut anything, he has to cut $3 billion to make up for the interest, which is about over $1 trillion. And then he's only done $100 billion, and the country is falling apart. So what was the alternative? Same thing about the Ukraine thing. You can't do that. You shouldn't do this. That's naive. That won't work. Okay. What was the plan before Donald Trump? He didn't start the war. So then Putin went in, maybe 1.5 million dead, wounded, and missing. What is the alternative when all these people are screaming? He's naive. I like the Wall Street Journal, but have you noticed that almost every article is negative now in the news section? I was looking at it today. It said people cutting back, delaying trips, cutting back, and then there's a little article below that says gas prices. I'm thinking, another one is people sneaking in eggs from Mexico. And I thought, well, why don't you just have a little article that say egg prices have dropped $2 a dozen? Donald Trump was elected, rather than saying that there's an egg shortage, or why not say it was caused under Biden and it's getting better? But they never do that. And then they said people worried about prices and cutting back, and what actually gas is the lowest it's been in 4 years. Or why don't you say the consumer price index was much less than what everybody expected? And after 8 weeks, you can't really have a policy. But I don't know who is writing, but when I see names like Molly Ball writing for the Wall Street Journal, this is the woman in 2021 for Time magazine wrote that triumphalist essay about the cabal, her words, not mine, the conspiracy that modulated street protests, partnered with the government to censor news and change the voting laws, and we won. And that is one of the marquee Wall Street Journal reporters. So I don't know what it is. I like a lot of the op-ed writers, but I wish when they start in on it, and they all do now, they would just tell us what the alternative is. You remember Barack Obama had something called the Simpson-Bowles Commission for Debt Relief and Government Efficiency, basically, and they came back to Barack Obama And it was Al Simpson, who just passed away, is a good friend of mine, and it was a wonderful three-tier tax simplification, just three tax brackets, cutting government. And had we adopted all of those modest Social Security reforms, I think we would owe something like $8 trillion had we done that. This was a liberal president, and he could have easily reformed entitlements in a way no conservative ever could have. He had the House, he had the Senate, and what did he do? He said, "That's a great job. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya. That's it." And they just canceled it. So, we've tried this before. Everybody talks about waste, fraud, and nobody does a thing. Nobody does a thing.
If you enjoyed today's